All right. I want you to think about something for a second. You ever notice how some guys walk into a room and women just shift? Like nothing dramatic happens. He doesn't say anything crazy. He doesn't do some big move. He just exists. And somehow the energy in the room changes. Women become more aware, more present, more interested. And these guys aren't always the best looking. They're not always the tallest. They're not always the richest. But something about them triggers something inside women that most guys never figure out. That something has a name. And today, we're going to break it down completely. See, most guys think attraction is about looks, or money, or saying the right things at the right time. But bro, female attraction is happening on a neurological level, inside her brain, in ways she cannot control and cannot fake. And when a genuinely high-value man enters her world, her brain goes through a very specific sequence of reactions. Reactions she doesn't choose. Reactions that happen automatically. In this video, I'm breaking down exactly what happens inside a woman's brain when she meets a high-value man. 7 specific psychological and emotional shifts. And by the end of this, you're going to understand not just what she feels, but exactly what kind of man triggers those feelings, and how you can become that man. Let's get into it. Number 1. Her brain releases dopamine, and she doesn't know why. Here's where it starts. The very first thing that happens when a woman encounters a genuinely high-value man is a dopamine release in her brain. Dopamine is the chemical of anticipation, of excitement, of "I want more of this." But here's what most people don't understand about dopamine. It's not triggered by certainty, it's triggered by the possibility of something good, by uncertainty mixed with excitement, by the feeling of "I don't know exactly what this is yet, but I want to find out." A high-value man triggers this automatically. Why? Because he's not immediately readable. He's not handing her his entire personality in the first 5 minutes. He's not trying to impress her. He's not performing. He's just there, calm, grounded, present. And her brain goes, "Wait, what is this?" And that question, that curiosity, is dopamine doing its job. The average guy kills dopamine immediately by being too obvious, too eager, too readable. The high-value man keeps it alive by being genuinely interesting without trying to be. And once her brain gets that first hit of dopamine around you, it starts wanting more. That's when the real attraction begins. Number 2, her threat detection system turns off, and she feels safe. This one is huge, and almost nobody talks about it. Women walk through life with a threat detection system running constantly in the background. It's not personal, it's biological. It's been there since the beginning of human evolution, and it's always scanning. Is this person safe? Is this person stable? Is this person who he appears to be? When she meets most men, that system stays partially on, because most men give off subtle signals of instability. Nervousness, neediness, hidden agenda, trying too hard. And her brain picks up on all of it even when she doesn't consciously register it. But when she meets a high-value man, a man who is grounded, consistent, emotionally stable, and genuinely comfortable in his own skin, something happens. That threat detection system quietly turns off. And when it turns off, she relaxes in a way she doesn't even realize. She laughs easier. She opens up faster. She becomes softer, more herself. That relaxation is her brain saying, "This one is safe." And safety is not a small thing, bro. Safety is the foundation of every deep attraction a woman has ever felt. Without it, nothing else works. With it, everything becomes possible. Number 3. Her attention narrows. He becomes the most interesting thing in the room. Pay attention to this one, because it explains something you've probably witnessed but never understood. Women are incredibly good at managing multiple social inputs at once. In any given room, she's tracking conversations, reading energy, noticing body language, processing information from multiple sources simultaneously. It's just how the female brain works. But when a high-value man enters her awareness, something shifts. Her attention narrows. The other inputs fade into the background. He becomes, without doing anything dramatic, the most interesting thing in the room. This isn't a choice she makes. It's a neurological response. Her brain has identified something worth paying attention to, and it's redirecting her focus automatically. And here's what causes it. It's not his looks. It's the combination of presence and non-neediness. He's not trying to get her attention. He's not looking over at her to check if she's watching. He's not performing for the room. He's just fully inhabiting his own space. And that completeness, is what her brain finds impossible to ignore. The guy who's trying to be noticed never gets truly noticed. The guy who isn't trying is the one she can't stop watching. Be that guy. Number 4. She starts comparing every other man in the room to him. This one is wild because it happens so fast and she has no control over it. The moment a high-value man registers in a woman's awareness, her brain automatically begins making comparisons. Not consciously, not deliberately, but suddenly every other man in the room is being measured against this one. His posture compared to theirs, his energy compared to theirs, the way he carries himself compared to how they carry themselves. And most men lose that comparison immediately. Because most men are performing, most men are trying, most men have a slight anxious energy underneath everything they do. And next to a man who has none of that, a man who is just solidly, quietly himself, the contrast is immediate and powerful. This is why high-value men seem to clear a room of competition without doing anything. They don't compete. They don't try to outshine anyone. They just exist at a different level, and her brain does the rest. You don't need to be better than every man in the room. You just need to be more yourself than every man in the room. Authentic, grounded presence always wins. Always. Number 5. She starts creating stories about him in her head. Bro, this one is the most fascinating thing about female psychology, and most guys never know it happens. When a woman encounters a high-value man who doesn't immediately give everything away, who has a bit of mystery, who doesn't over-explain himself, who is interesting without being try-hard, her imagination activates. And a woman's imagination is the most powerful attraction tool in existence. She starts filling in the blanks. Who is he really? What does his life look like? What is he thinking right now? Why does he seem so comfortable? What's his story? She builds a version of him in her mind. And that version, that imagined, mysterious, intriguing version, she becomes attracted to that too. Not just him, but the idea of him that her own brain created. This is why mystery is not a game. Mystery is not manipulation. Mystery is giving her imagination room to work. The man who tells her everything immediately kills her imagination. The man who reveals himself slowly, piece by piece, gives her something to think about at 2 a.m. when she can't sleep. You want to live in her head rent-free? Stop explaining yourself so much. Let her wonder. Let her imagine. Her imagination will do more for your attraction than anything you could ever say. Number 6. Her body language changes, without her permission. This one she cannot fake and cannot hide. And if you know what to look for, it tells you everything. When a woman's brain has identified a high-value man, her body responds automatically. She sits up slightly straighter. She becomes more physically aware of herself, touching her hair, adjusting her clothes, small grooming behaviors that happen subconsciously. Her voice softens slightly when she speaks to him, compared to how she speaks to others. She angles her body toward him, even in group situations. She laughs a little more genuinely. She becomes, without deciding to, a slightly more feminine version of herself. These are not choices. These are neurological responses to attraction. Her body is responding to what her brain has already decided. And here's why this matters for you. When you understand what triggers these responses, the calm presence, the grounded energy, the non-neediness, the quiet confidence, you understand that attraction is not about performing, it's about being, the right kind of being, the kind that her brain cannot resist and her body cannot hide. Number 7, she feels a pull she cannot explain, and that pull becomes obsession. And this is the final one, bro. This is the one that separates a man she thinks about once from a man she cannot stop thinking about.
After everything her brain has processed, the dopamine, the safety, the narrow detention, the comparisons, the stories she's built, the body language she couldn't control, something crystallizes, a feeling, a pull, a quiet but persistent sense of, I want to be around this person again. And the fascinating thing about this pull is that she cannot explain it. She'll try, she'll tell her friends, I don't know, there's just something about it. She'll replay interactions in her head, trying to identify exactly what it is. She won't be able to, because it's not one thing. It's the sum of everything her brain experienced in his presence. And when she can't explain it, when it feels bigger than logic, when it's not just about how he looks or what he said, but about how she felt when she was around him, that's when attraction becomes obsession. That's when she's thinking about him not just when she sees him, but when she's doing the dishes, when she's driving, when she's lying in bed at night. That's the level you're aiming for, bro. Not just a guy she thinks is cute. A man whose presence left something behind in her nervous system that she keeps going back to try to understand. And here's the truth. That man is not out of reach. That man is not some mythical creature. That man is built through specific habits, specific energy, specific ways of showing up in the world. Calm, grounded, non-needy, purposeful, comfortable in his own skin. A man who has somewhere to be and something to build, and people who matter to him. That's it. That's the whole formula. Not tricks, not lines, not tactics. Just a man who has done the internal work to become genuinely high value. And when that man walks into a room, her brain doesn't need convincing. It already knows. So let me ask you something. Which one of these 7 things hit you the hardest? Which one made you think, okay, I need to work on this? Drop it in the comments right now, because I guarantee at least 2 or 3 of these landed personally. Every guy who's serious about this stuff has blind spots. This video just made some of yours visible. And listen, if this opened your mind to how female psychology actually works, the next video is going to completely change how you carry yourself in any room. Because understanding what she feels is level 1. Building the daily habits and presence that trigger these feelings automatically, that's where the real transformation happens. That video is right here. Don't skip it. Let's go.